Welcome. This time we're going to look at the tricky subject of hatching, and in particular this time colouring the hatching in Solidworks. Any of you that have used Solidworks for any amount of time will know that the hatching is particularly tricky, would be a mild way of putting it, and has a bit of a mind of its own. And managing it can be difficult. So in this one, we're just going to look at trying to colour the hatching using layers. And I found that this is not particularly easy to do or straightforward and obvious unless there's a few little tricks that you need to add into your workflow to help you make it work. So just to give some idea of why we want to do this, we've got this drawing here where we export, say, our details with some quite intense hatching in these areas here. And when you export them then into the PDF, it would be better if they look more lightweight. If they could, I think for us at Design Know-How, we're looking really to do these black and white drawings and then just have maybe a light grey hatching just to take the intensity off of that hatching, and that would be generally across the whole of the drawing. But of course you can apply to bodies or components all sorts of different colours. So in the example I'm going to show you would be with all sorts of different colours just to express the effect. But what we're trying to achieve here is just receding this hatching here away from the black lines, really, because when we go to PDF, this is what we get. This is what it kind of looks like. If I can just bring this across. It's not letting me grab it at the moment. Here we go, onto the screen. You can see here it's quite busy on the eye, and it'd be better if it was more gentle on the eye. So that's what we're trying to achieve. So this drawing, so going back to the point of Solidworks managing hatching, I'm probably going to try and solve another problem in time, and when I've got some solutions to that, I'll bring those across. But you'll notice here with the hatching, Solidworks seems to, even though these are the same items, seems to make up its own mind what hatching it's going to apply. And sometimes it'll chop and change, or even just not show them on screen at all. So that's kind of pretty annoying. And there are a number of techniques that you can use to bump it, I suppose, by editing the sketch line that's formed maybe the sections for that, and the same with the details. You can do those sorts of things and bring them through. But even I found when we've been trying to get this coloured one to work, even those kind of techniques didn't seem to work either. And this one I'm going to show you does seem to work. So let's just jump into what we're trying to do, just to give you some background of what we got. Part of that larger drawing, which became really quite heavy, is of this sliding curved screen, of which there's 6 of, and it has reeded elements on the front, and they're all curved. So there's an awful lot of curved aspects on this particular item. I don't know what we've hit there, but we don't really want to do that. Whatever that was doing, it seems that we've opened the part. And this screen is made out of a number of components here that form a sub-assembly. So highlighted in blue is the outer framing, and then we've got these panels on the front and back, so you can see them here getting highlighted, that form the, let's just spin it around, form the panels on the back, which we were sectioning through. So each of these forms a component when we look at this. So it just gives you an idea of what it is that we've got on the drawing. Let's minimize that away, and let's just show you what we're trying to achieve. So let's have a look at, hopefully this drawing here. This drawing here. Okay, so hopefully this has come up on screen. So as you can see, this is our main leaf. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see there's all those reeds that we were looking at. And we pop that on there as an elevation. We've cut a section through. So we get this section through here, and then we've just done a detail off of that. And because this doesn't form part of the first drawing, the very, very first drawing that I showed you, which is like 7 pages long and it's got lots of views in and it's very, very heavy. Everything here is a little bit more stable than it might otherwise be. So it just keeps it nice and clean for us to show you what's going on. And as you can see here, we've got the different components here. So this is actually the outer framing. I've coloured this using a blue layer over here. And you can see it's blue here and it's blue here. And likewise, other components. So some of those back panels, they're on the yellow layer. And this front panel's on the green layer. And the steel structure inside is on the layer that's formed red. And let's say that I want this component here. So we're in component to now be yellow like the other side. We go down to my yellow layer and switch it over, and hey presto, it works. So all looks well and good, but actually just applying it to the layers is not the easiest thing. So what I'm going to do is just run through how we've done this again on a new drawing. And so here's a new drawing. Let's bring in exactly what I would have done just to create those things. So let's bring in a front elevation. If it'll let me. Great, isn't it, when it won't let you do something? Let's just refresh that. Front elevation, here we go. I don't know why it was doing that. Okay, we've got the front elevation, and let's just tick that off. Let's give it a scale of 1 to 5 to make it nice and big. 1 to 5, there we go. And let's give it a section line through here. You see we've got the section coming in down the bottom here. Okay, so let's just break the alignment on that. Bring it up the top here and make that 1 to 2, which is where I had it on the previous drawing. 1 to 2. There you go. You'll see it's similar to the last drawing we had before. Let's move that over there. Okay, and then let's just grab a detail from here. Best detail, there you go, that'll do. Okay, and you can see we've got a similar setup to what we had on the previous drawing. Okay, a point to note down the bottom here, here's showing what layer you're on. So in this particular template, generally there'll be, if there's a drawing standard, it'll be per standard, and it'll be saying use whatever the layers in that drawing standard is. But you can set up your own layers, and that's what you're going to need to do here. And we can just say that there's a whole bunch of layers that have been pre-set up by whoever made this template, but we can add some extra ones in here. If you're starting from scratch, you may have almost, I think there might be just format in the layers. That might be the only one. You just need to add some new ones. But in ours, when we go to layer properties up at the top here, we're going to add some new layers. You'll see all those layers that were there before. If you've just got format up there, it might be just one standard one that you've got. We're going to add a bunch of new layers, so we'll add maybe 5 layers, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers, and we'll give them some names. So we'll call this one blue, I'll call this one red, call this one yellow, we'll call this one green, and we'll call this, oh, let's get it on there, green, and we'll call this one down the bottom light grey, because ultimately that's what we at Design Know How are really looking for. So blue. So in the blue layer here, you can see basically it's saying this eye icon here says when you go to print this document, will it see this layer and will it print out? So you can do some hidden layers if you want. If you click that, you can see that the printer symbol goes grey, and it won't be, when it goes to print it, you won't see it. So we want all of those definitely to be showing. You can see this one up the top here is hidden. And then we want to apply a colour to this. So it's blue, so we'll naturally give that a blue colour. This one here, let's give this a red colour. Okay, and this one here, yellow. This one here, green, quite a nice bright green. And this one here, we're going to go for light grey. So we've got 5 layers here. So they're set up, those layers are set up, and you should see that they're down the bottom here. And one thing to remember is the last one that you edited will pop up here. So if you want to be working in your per standard again, which is generally what you do want to be in, don't forget just to check that box down there, keep an eye on that all the time, and just pop that back into per standard, unless of course you want what you're doing at that point in time to be on a different layer. So next job is to apply this layer to the hatching. So without going too deeply into it, what we're going to work with components and maybe just bodies. I mean, if you want to, you can play around with other things as region as well. Down here you'll see. So if we click on this component, I suppose, but it's a body as well, but it's part of a component, and we want to make an effect on this hatching. And you can see over on this side where it populates the fields, it's ticked material crosshatch, which we want to leave that the way it is, because we want to bring through the material we applied in our model to this drawing, and so we don't want to alter that. But if you untick it, you can then start applying your own hatches. You see it livens up this area here, and you can apply all your own hatches and so on, do things to it. We don't want to do that. We want to just keep it ticked. So that's what we're going to do. And then we want to change the layer, so to the whole of that component. So anything that is in that component that we've brought through into our sub-assembly will turn their hatching to that color. So we want to put it on there. So we want to make it blue. We want to put it on the blue layer. And you can see the preview in here has turned it blue, which is great. That's what we want. And then you tick it off, and hey presto, it doesn't work. And this is the tricky bit, which doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. But what you need to do now is to click on this, bring it back again, and then go up to the line color up the top here. Okay, and then click on that, and where it says, because it'll basically bring out your basic line colors, you want to click the default box, and that will direct it to the blue color. And that's the bit that we were often missing. So now you can see it's blue. So once that default box is ticked, you can see this area here has gone blue because it's part of the same component, and so is this area here has gone blue. So that's great. So now we can manage that. If we wanted to flick this through the different colors, we can go yellow. There you go. You can see it turns yellow. We can turn it green. Oh, I don't want that. And indeed, as we wanted it, we wanted to turn it light grey. You can see that if we were to turn all our hatching light grey, it's just going to take the emphasis on, which is what we're trying to do. But for the sake of this demonstration, it's easier to have all these colours in here. So then we go through our different components. So the arrangement of the components in the sub-assembly is these ply pieces and all these reeds are part of one component. These ply pieces here and all these reeds are part of another component. This piece of steel in here is part of another component. So effectively we can apply 4 colours to these. So we'll go through the same process again. Click on the area that we're talking about. You can see that our properties have changed now. It's highlighting it as being on this layer here. We're going to apply, let's say, red to this one. And it hasn't changed colour. To get off, click on it again. Bring up this colour, edit colour line, tick the default box, and this should all go red, which it does, which is great. And there we go, tick that one off. Same again, make this one yellow. Click on it. I'm not even sure if you need to, I don't think you even need to click off for the other screen actually to do it. There you go, you just need to click on it. You don't need to close it off. And there you go, you get what you need there. And then this one we can make green, right? So that's the last colour we've got left. So green, get rid of that. And put on there. Go to the default box, tick default, and there we go. Goes green. So that's fantastic, and you can see it's all populated through here because we're applying it to the components. And then let's just say that you wanted this body, just change this body individually, just to see let you see how this works as well. Let's say we want to apply it just to a body, and we want just that body to be the same as the, well, let's turn it light grey, shall we? Light grey, click off of that. You can see it's gone light grey. So once you've ticked that default box, you don't need to do it again, and that particular body's gone light grey, and it's gone light grey in here too. Okay, so that's great. And that all works really, really well. Although, when you get to a very heavy drawing, so this is the other bit that you might need to look at as a bit of a technique. When you get to very heavy drawing like we had before here, and I'm hoping that it won't work very well on this one, because I just want to demonstrate what we can do to bring this through. So let's say we've got light grey here, and let's add some more layers. Show you how to do that again. So layers, let's add a new layer. Let's call it green. Let's just go green. Might be easy for us to see then. Let's tick this box, make it green. It's on a go slow now because this is a very heavy drawing. Hopefully it hasn't frozen. This is what I mean though, when you get into heavy drawings, things take a very long time, and it prompts some rather strange behaviours a lot of the time. And one of the reasons I think that we never really sussed this out before was because you actually needed to know two things. You needed to tick that default box, and then if you're working on these, hopefully this next technique that I'm going to show you will work as well. So maybe let's go down, actually, because these are the same components either side here. Let's work on this one. So let's go again to what we did before. We click on here, go to green, and there you go. You can see in the preview it's gone green. Tick the box off and it hasn't gone green. Tick on it and it should with the default, and I'm hoping it won't this time, but anyway, just to show you, click OK. Will it go green? Won't it go green? We shall see, but it probably won't. I'm sort of hoping it won't, and the only science I can put to that is that this drawing is very heavy, and yeah, as you know, these things often don't work that well. So how do we get that to populate through? Well, the trick I've learned to do that, and I do hope this is going to work, is click on that whole view and delete it, accept it as being yes. I suggest you save out before you do this, just in case you accidentally lose the whole of the view or something, and then you could at least then just close down the drawing without saving and then bring it all back to where you were. So save out first, then click that view and delete it, and then use the Control-Z undo command, so Control-Z, to bring it back in again. With a bit of luck, it will go green, but we shall see. And there you go. Voila! Quite pleased that worked, actually, to be fair. And anyway, I hope this helps you with adding colours to the hatching, and helps you click less and save some stress. See you next time. Bye.